I got denied for a bank loan today. I applied online, got denied, tried to look nice, and went to the bank, talked to the bank manager about myself, my situation, and why I was applying for a loan. He was moved by my story and decided he would go to the underwriter himself and fight for me to get that loan. He did that today. The underwriter decided to deny me anyway. Let me back up a little bit and give some backstory for context. I'm 31 years old. I live at home with my mom. I have since she and my dad divorced when I was 7 years old. We live together because that means with our combined income, we can afford to live in a pretty nice neighborhood. We decided to move to a nicer neighborhood because the neighborhood we were in wasn't safe. I'm a gay black man. I wear makeup, and I work in a white collar environment, and I dress like I work in a white collar environment. I didn't have much in common with the guys in my neighborhood, and we made each other very uncomfortable. So there was tension. And the apartment had roaches. Our rent is very high. The no sick days allowed kind of high. My mom sustained an injury on the job and had to miss about a total of a week's worth of work on doctor's visits and time off. We got lucky. It wasn't too serious. But since we were already struggling to keep up, we fell way behind. Having been homeless before, we chose to prioritize rent and the car payment. In order to keep with all of our commitments, we had to take out payday loans. I should say additional payday loans. We'd been juggling them already for a while now. So the loan that I applied for at the bank was for $1,500. I was going to use $1,200 to pay back the payday loans. I was going to use the last $300 to get my mom a tune-up and a new battery for her car. If I had anything left after that, I was going to do a first payment on an afterpay plan for a little makeup and brushes from Morphe, because it's my passion. I love makeup and I love writing stories. But that's not going to happen for now. I've had a lot of long conversations with a lot of really knowledgeable people about how credit, debt, and wealth works. I've worked really, really hard to improve my credit, but my student loans have been in forbearance for years because I chose to buy food over making regular payments. So those student loan payments aren't contributing to my credit at all. I can't get approved for credit cards of any type or any limit, and I don't have the money to do a secured line of credit. We've been paying on the car that I mentioned for about 3 years now, which is about a total of 70 payments or so. And we've had, I think, about 3 late payments during that time. You might be surprised that those 3 late payments were a colossal negative impact on my credit. The bank said my credit score needed to be at least 650 to get approved for the loan. My credit score currently is 639. So I'm 11 points short. I was so close to breaking that cycle. I've done everything I could to afford to get any negative stain. I've done everything that I could afford to do to get any negative stains on my credit removed or to build up my credit. I've dealt with fraud in the past, confusion about how credit works and my responsibilities in that regard, intense clinical depression and anxiety since early childhood, and that runs in my family. I work at a job that looks awesome on my resume, but that I can't get out of. I have no insurance. I haven't seen a dentist in almost a decade, so my whole mouth is falling apart, like that. My dad lost all of his teeth by my age, so I'm really lucky. But it's just a lot. It was worse for my mom. She didn't really have a solid financial education until she was an adult, after she'd already mistakenly filed for bankruptcy as a young woman, not knowing the consequences of that choice. She graduated from university last year. I'm very proud of her. After having set her life aside to raise me because that's what she thought she was supposed to do, and no one told her any different. She hasn't seen her degree, however, because she can't afford to pay off the last of her tuition after her financial aid ran out. So that's another $3,000 that we don't even have a plan at this point to pay it off. Her father, my grandfather, told her to file for bankruptcy when she was young. He meant well, but he didn't know what he was doing. And who knows where he got that knowledge from. And on it went. I'm trying to break that cycle, but it's so difficult. I've gotten really good at pretending that I have money. I have to. It's the only way I can get access to the people and the places where I can be able to move upwards. The lack of education feeds into poverty, making it stronger. My mom broke that particular cycle. Together, we've gotten ourselves out of the hood and into nicer jobs with access to stronger resumes, better connections, and a better life. That cycle is breaking. But that leaves the poverty behind to deal with. My grandparents didn't leave anything when they died, and they died fairly young, early 70s. There's no generational wealth at all in my family. Every child who's born starts at zero. It's like trying to turn dust into sand, and sand into mud, and mud into clay, and clay into brick, and brick into a building, and that building into a business. I have a friend whose dad gave him $10,000 to start a business when he was 22. He doesn't even know what dust looks like. In my case, if I handle this clay that I have now too roughly, it might dissolve back into mud. And if I'm not fast enough and it dries, it'll crumble into sand. And I'm scared. I'm scared all of this dust that my ancestors collected to pass to their children and their children and so on, so that I might be able to make a brick, a building, a business from it, will fail. I'm so scared of dying with my dreams still inside me like my grandfather did. And that the next generation I already see growing up in my family won't have anything but dust from me. More dust. And I don't know what to do. I want to thank the bank manager, Luis, for everything that he did to try to help me. And I want to thank my mom for sacrificing and always trying to learn and to teach. Thank you to my grandparents for working hard and for doing the best with what you had. You were amazing. And I want to thank my ancestors for surviving against impossible odds. And I want to thank you guys for watching this and for thinking about it. Have a nice day.